Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. We're recording today from the Advisors Mortgage Group studio right here in downtown Carmel, Indiana. And I'm Rick Rittman, your hardworking mortgage guy. I've been in mortgages and in real estate for over 34 years. I've helped over, what was it, 5,200 folks?
That's not enough people.
I know. I need to do a better job of counting. Finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one size fits all approach. We believe there is a best mortgage for you, and we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping people either rebuild their credit or even just get a better credit score so you can get the better rates so you can purchase what you want and help build your overall financial wealth and security.
And as we get started today, just remember, if you have any questions, want any information on the real estate market here in Indiana, or have any mortgage questions, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. I almost forgot that.
Hey, you got it in there. I give you
good
gold star.
And we're really excited today. We have Alan Hamson, and it's with Fathom Realty.
Right, Fathom Realty.
I don't know why. I can pronounce that every time until I try to say it out loud.
Yeah, if you say it a few times fast, it could be a tongue twister there.
It is for me. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
We'd like to get started, kind of get an idea of what you did, what you did before real estate, where you grew up, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. I'm a lifetime Indianapolis resident. I grew up on the south side, Garfield Park area, and kind of migrated a little bit south to Franklin Township and then to Greenwood, where I live now. But yeah, I've lived here all my life, know the area, love the area. As far as getting into real estate goes, I went to college, got married very young. I got married while I was in college. My wife was only 19 at the time, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So, life kind of just got started. So, I went to school for business. I did finish with my business degree. Life got in the way, and you just get going sometimes, and got a job out of necessity more than desire. and as life goes on, you do the things that maybe you're not necessarily passionate about, but because it's just the thing you need to do for your family. And that's where we're. And then, as we went on and lived, my wife got into hair. And as, just like real estate, you have to build your clientele and grow. And she got to a point where she's been very successful at that. She's very good at what she does, has a great clientele, and has built that up. And since she built that up, it's like, okay, now it's my turn to really follow my passion and do something that I love to do. And real estate was something that was always in the background for me and in the back of my mind. But it's like one of those things where it's like, you're going to have to take a leap of faith. And I never really wanted to do that when I had the responsibility of a family on my shoulders. So I finally just said, okay, we could live off your salary if we need to. We saved up some money. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump all in and kind of just go for it. And I did, and glad that I did.
Yeah, you've done extremely well.
Yeah. It's been a lot of growth since I've started, and continual and small and steady growth, but it's been great.
Yeah. Now, where'd you go to school?
College? College. Went to IUPUI, graduated
Okay.
from the Kelley School of Business with a degree in business. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I went to IUPUI also.
Right.
So did I.
That's what I thought.
The junior IU.
Yeah.
What is it? Next 4 or 5 years, nobody will even know what that is.
Right,
I'll be
yeah.
talking to my kids, and they'll be like, "That college even around?" Not really.
Right. Yeah. I was in a position where I had to work my way through school. I didn't want to take out a ton of student debt or loans and have to pay those back. So I worked and lived at home and commuted. So that's why I ended up at IUPUI.
And you get the same degree.
Exactly. Yeah.
Save
People
money.
don't know. It's an Indiana University degree on my wall, so nobody knows the difference.
That's right.
So tell us about why you chose to work for Fathom and stuff like that.
For Fathom, really it came down to, when I first started, I didn't go into Fathom. I worked for a larger brokerage, and it was great. I loved it. Great culture. But what it came down to for me was cost. The cost of the brokerage and what they're providing. They didn't give me leads or anything like that. Most for me personally, and the way I operate, they provided was a culture, which is great, and I learned a lot there. But it got to a point where the expenses outweighed what I was getting in return. And with Fathom, the way they're structured, it allows me to do some things that I couldn't do there, with some flexibility and things and costs and stuff like that. So that's why I moved to Fathom, and that's why I'm there now. And it's been a really great fit for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you got into real estate, obviously, you had the support of your wife, which is phenomenal. But how did you get going? Because you got going pretty well, and you're
Yeah.
doing extremely well. So what did you do? What was your process?
Yeah. When I first got started, I was a slow or a late bloomer, I guess. I didn't get started and rolling out the gate like a lot of people do. You see that and you're like wondering, man, what am I doing or what are they doing that I'm not? And, a lot of it comes down to personality for me. And the way I work and the way people teach you is a lot different than my personality. So I'm an introverted person by nature. That doesn't mean I go into a room and I'm, you know, in the corner sitting by myself, but it does take a lot of work for me to be in those situations. If there's a party or something going on, I'm not the focus. I'm the guy off to the side having a one-on-one conversation or something like that. But basically what I did when I started is I worked on processes. I worked on things that I can do to create the best experience for my clients that I could. I didn't focus as much on how do I get those clients, and going out and meeting people. I did those things. I planted all these seeds that would grow, and it would be a slow growth rather than just an explosion. At the door, I'm calling people every day on the phone saying, "Hey, let's buy and sell real estate." It was things like farming neighborhoods and talking to people and finding things that I can do to help people out rather than just asking for business all the time. And that's kind of snowballed over the years, and it's really developed into a business that I love.
When you said farming a neighborhood, what does that entail? What did you do?
Yeah, so I would do things. This was in the neighborhood that I lived in, and I've had several homes that I've sold on a single street now in this neighborhood, and it's something that takes time, like farming. The word implies you're planting seeds, and it's going to take some time to develop and grow and nurture. So it's the things that I did personally is, I would invite neighbors over for cookouts, not necessarily talking real estate, but just to get to know me.
Right.
And allow that where all the neighbors could come together and get to know each other and just build a good community, basically. So it didn't have as much to do with me as it did to the community. And then I would piggyback along with that and send out mailers to people on, hey, this is what's going on in the neighborhood this month. And just let people know where the market is and things like that, and just be a resource, and for the neighborhood. And through that, I've developed some great relationships.
Right.
And, I'm actually listing a house tomorrow from that. So,
Awesome.
and that was something that I've done. I don't even live in that neighborhood anymore. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Build a relationship.
Yeah,
That's what it's
exactly.
about. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's funny because I'm the same as you. I'm much more of an introvert in my natural, my base, how I am. So if I go to a party, it sounded when you were talking about just like I do it, I go to a party. I don't like huge crowds.
Right.
Right. I want to just get with somebody, talk to them,
Right.
and get to know them. I'm not going to be the life of the party.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not comfortable being the center of attention.
Yeah.
So,
Rick's that guy in middle school, the middle school dance, just standing over there in the corner.
right. Swinging back and forth.
No. I didn't go to the middle school dance. I'm not that guy standing in the corner. I'm the guy at home.
Right.
Okay? And I'm happy.
So did you have any mentors or anything that helped you when you got into the field?
Yeah. I didn't have a single one mentor. I mean, I kind of took bits and pieces of everything. I listen to a lot of podcasts. When I first got started, there was some mentors that came in, and I took some advice from, and I think it really hampered my development, and really kind of hurt me because they were teaching a certain way, and that didn't fit with my personality. So I'm trying to fit a square peg in a round hole and do the things that they're telling me to do, like, call these people every day and go knock on doors, and that stuff just didn't fit with me and my personality. So, you know, I find it's good to just get not from just one person. I've found that for me anyway, it's great to listen to all kinds of different perspectives and different things. And so I listen to a lot of podcasts and different real estate podcasts and business podcasts, listening to CEOs and how they got started, because that directly relates to us in real estate.
Right.
Because you are your own CEO of your own business. So it's taught me a lot on, things that I could do to kind of just grow and continue to grow. So
That's awesome, because what most people don't understand is when you do that when you're listening to all those, you might get one little tidbit from some person, not thinking about,
Right.
oh, let me try that. And
Right.
that might work great for you.
Right.
So what do you spend most of your time doing, would you say, as being a realtor?
I don't spend, I don't know if there's any one thing. Obviously, you're putting out fires a lot, or actually, I like to not saying putting out fires. I'm preventing fires. I'm putting the water on the ground before the fire gets to it, so that we don't have those issues.
That's smart.
But yeah, so a lot of time doing those kinds of things, just communication with clients, but a lot of it's just working on processes. That any spare time that I have, I'm trying to develop processes, improve processes, and make things better. Not just for me, but for the client experience. That's really my focus, is how can I make this the best experience possible for the people that I'm working for.
That's awesome. And I know we're coming up on the break. Alan, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call or text 317-496-0656. That's 317-0656 or 496-0656. Sorry. But if that ever changes, you can always reach me at alanhamson.com. That's ham like the meat, HAMSON, alanhamson.com.
All right, and Rick, how would they get a hold of you and I?
Go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can go to 317-672-1938, right? 317-672-1938, and you can get a hold of us there. On the website, just find our information, and you can contact us directly from the website.
And after the break, we'll talk with Alan and find out what is his superpower. All right. Hey, welcome back from the break. We do have Alan here, and he great information so far, how he got into the business and everything. But before we get into what is his superpower, let's do the question of the week.
I love the question of the week.
The question of the week is sponsored by Rick and I, the hardworking mortgage guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates on your loan through his whole entire process. Contact us today at hardworkingmortgageguys.com. All right, so here's the question for you, Alan.
Okay.
What was your first car?
Oh boy. So we could talk about this for a while, but it was a 1990 Pontiac Bonneville.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was a neat car. So my friend growing up had a used car lot, and they had a few of those on there, and they really caught my eye over the time. And being young, gadgets and things really kind of, you see all the flashy things, and so if you've ever seen that car, it's got probably 1 million buttons on the steering wheel and throughout the car. It's a lot going on in there. And that's actually my dad's biggest concern when we were getting it. It's like, man, that's a lot of car for you. A lot going on in there. I mean, it had probably 9 buttons just for the seats.
Oh, yeah.
And then the steering wheel itself had probably, I had people get in the car and say it looked like a cockpit in a plane. It was just insane. But no, it was a great car. It was really a lot of fun.
How long did it last you?
Well, I only had it a few years. Had some issues with the transmission, and ended up finally just getting a small pickup truck after that. But no, it was a great car. I loved that car.
Yeah, the Bonneville by then was a great size. Before then, it was huge. And somewhere in
yes,
I think it came out about 86 or 7. I can't remember when they changed the body style from what most people considered Grandma and Grandpa's car.
I think 89 or 88.
Okay. I was selling Pontiacs at the time, and I knew it was in that time frame. I just don't remember when it came out. I remember when it first came out, and it was the first car at the dealership that we had that had analog brakes.
Oh yeah.
So we had to take it out and test out the anti-lock brakes, and they were
Right.
very impressive. But it was, it
Yeah.
was like once they changed it, that body style, the body style was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a great car. It was for the time. It was a looker. I remember, the taillights kind of smoked and
Yep.
had that. Yeah, it was a neat car.
Yeah. So would you buy another one if one came along and it was like, yo,
I think about it, but I haven't really seen any.
Yeah.
I mean, they came with great engines. The engines were really solid in those cars, but for whatever reason, you just never see any around anymore.
yeah, maybe it was the transmissions.
I think I'm just old. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. If you can't tell, I'm really into cars.
Yes, so
And,
am I.
Yeah. So I think, it's one of those things where it matters. And every year, different cars become popular.
Mm-hmm.
The first car that my parents had me, that they had that I drove when I turned 16, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but it was a Gremlin.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I saw online somebody selling their Gremlin. Now they'd fixed it up and put a V8 in it and all that. They were selling it for $35,000 for a Gremlin. I guess anything becomes popular, but I can't imagine somebody looking at it and going, man, I always wanted a Gremlin. But there probably are people who do.
You want to talk about anything can become popular? The smart car became popular for like 3-4 years. Everybody wanted to own one. What, 09 through or 08 through 2010? Everybody wanted it because they're like, gas prices are $4 a gallon.
Yeah.
And yet look at our gas prices now. But
yeah.
but those things are huge.
We could divert this whole podcast, I think, and talk about cars the next hour.
I think we could.
If we wanted to.
Yeah, but just the one thing about smart cars, the only thing about that is I would be scared to death to drive around in that small of a car.
Right.
Especially in the highway with semis and everything. It probably doesn't matter, but it's just the feel.
You have people lifting them now and using them for off-road.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's go do it.
On that.
Right.
So what is or are your superpowers?
Oh, boy. Would you believe me if I said I have X-ray vision?
I would, but
Ian's
please,
I'll
please stop looking at me.
It's pink, isn't it?
I was gonna say Ian's underwear is pink. But no, I would say a couple things. One, I'm a very curious person by nature, so that curiosity's really gotten me where I am. It drives me to learn and constantly develop and grow. It's one of the things that I like about real estate is because it's unlimited learning and growing potential.
Right.
But what my clients tell me most often, I think, is just the calming spirit that I have. Because I'm not that extroverted, typical real estate. I'm more introverted and I'm analytical thinking, I think. I'm more thinking along, and not to say that doesn't mean I'm not empathetic and all those things that makes a good agent. But throughout the transaction and process, there's a lot of things that can come up. So having that calming influence really helps people. I've had several people tell me that, I don't know how you do it. You really calmed me down through this whole thing. Like there was times I wanted to freak out, but just talking to you helped me, because I'm looking for solutions instead of, freaking out when something comes up, because inevitably there's always going to be something that comes up. So trying to figure out what the best solution is rather than our emotions helps go a long way for people. So
it's critical.
Oh, for
being
sure.
calming is critical, and it's very obvious that that's your personality. So it's obviously if somebody's freaking out and you're freaking out, it just gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
If they're freaking out and you're real calm, they will calm down to your level.
Yeah, for sure.
And that helps immensely. So they make a rational decision, not an emotional decision, which tends to be
the wrong one.
a lot of times. Well, you know what? It might even be the right thing.
It could be, yeah.
It needs to be thought through.
Right.
And you don't think through things when you're in an emotional state.
No.
And real estate's very emotional through the entire process. There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
But I got to thinking as you said it, wouldn't it be helpful to have X-ray vision in real estate?
It would be awesome. Yeah. It's inspections. I don't know. Who needs an inspector? I'm just give me 5 seconds and let me look this thing over for you.
That would be incredible.
I know.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
Maybe I really do have X-ray vision. And that's why my clients come to me.
So if you want to use Alan's X-ray vision, how would they get a hold of you?
You can find me at alanhamson.com. That's ALANHAM as in Mary, SON.com. AlanHamson.com or 317-496-0656. That's call or text 317-496-0656.
And it's Hamson, Hamson.
Yes, ham like the meat.
Yep, perfect. So on the you've got your superpower, which is calming people down. We talked about how important that is in the transaction. What is it? I mean, can you kind of give us an idea exactly what you do? Somebody gets they have their house for sale.
Mm-hmm.
The appraisal comes in $10,000 short.
Yeah, I think people, when they freak out or get very emotional, it's because they don't have answers and they don't know what to do, or you're afraid of the things that you don't know about.
Right.
So giving them those answers really goes a long way to calming their emotions. Letting them know that, okay, yes, this is an obstacle, it's a hurdle that we have to overcome, but here's our solutions. These are our ways forward. What do you think is best? And it takes them out of the emotional state into the, okay, let's figure out which one of these best works for us.
So you educate them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Education, knowledge is huge. So as long as we're afraid of the things we don't know about.
Right.
That's, uncertainty.
Right.
Basically is what creates fear.
Yeah.
So my job is to eliminate any uncertainty that we have, and along with it goes the fear.
Yeah. And what's great about that is you educate them so that they know, so they can make a proper decision. You're not making that decision for them. You're just making sure they make an informed decision.
Right.
And there may be times I'm sure you get the same thing we get. Well, what would you do?
Yeah.
And that's a tough question because it may be different than what they would do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'm not them and I'm not in their shoes and their situation.
Yeah.
But, if I can give you a good answer, I would, in those situations. But sometimes it's, something they have to figure out for themselves.
Well, it's nice that you can just break up different options for them.
Right.
So to speak. So you can say, all right, so here's an analytical way. All right, now here's the money way. Now here's your emotion, or here's the time one.
Right.
What one works best for you?
Yeah.
Because again, for instance, I'm a penny pusher. For the least cost, let's go figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Other people are like, let's just go spend money. So every person is going to be different.
Yep. And that's when that curiosity comes into play too, is it's important to ask questions in the beginning rather than try to figure it out later, and understand those things. Like, what's most important to you in this transaction? Like, is it getting the most money? Is it, getting out of here quickly? Is it just about having the smoothest and best experience? Like, those are the things that can determine how you go forward, because, it's not one size fits all, the transaction. So
Right. And it's amazing how a lot of times people don't realize. Now, not every market, the last market, this may not apply, but you tend to sell your house quicker if you price it a little lower, right? So if somebody's in a hurry to sell their house, they may want to price it a little lower to get it to move, as opposed to somebody who has time and they would rather get maximum.
yeah. There's all
price.
kinds of strategies you could use. It's just matching that strategy up with what their intended outcome is.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the things I'm an analytical person also. A lot of what we do is we make sure they get a lot of detail so they can be educated on it. They understand it. Sometimes I have to catch myself not doing too much, right? Because sometimes I can overanalyze something where somebody else doesn't care. But what you said, you have processes. Like, what would you say your favorite or best process is to help somebody understand whatever it is that whatever process it is you want to talk about?
My favorite process is, and I don't have like a step 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's just asking questions, asking as many questions as I need to get to the bottom of basically to the root of the problem or source, the foundation of what we're trying to accomplish. So,
Right.
I think the theory is, yes, why 7 times you actually get to the root of whatever.
7 times.
That's something I think I've read or heard that somewhere. So if you ask why 7 times, you'll get to the root of all problems.
Why?
My kids were good at that.
Yeah.
My kids were
Right?
good.
I know.
They were great.
Yeah. Problem is, we didn't answer it for the kids, so
Yeah,
they never figured it out.
no, we never got the 7, did we? But
No.
then we were over it.
Right.
Well, then Budweiser came out with their little slogan. Why?
Right.
Why? Try Bud Dry.
Right.
And then that's what my parents told me. Oh wait,
There you go.
now I see what the issue.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, you don't?
No, I've never
I
heard that.
remember
Ed.
Yeah. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. I remember that one.
Yeah. See, I guess that's a what is that, age thing, right?
It must be.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
But that was a Super Bowl commercial too, so I think that's the reason.
Be another reason I wouldn't have heard it.
So I know we are coming to the end of the radio show. So these people are dying to know, how would they get a hold of you?
They can call or text me at 317-496-0656 or go to alanhamson.com. That's Ham with an M.
And they can text you early morning, doesn't matter, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3
Yeah,
o'clock.
yeah, they actually can. I'll have it on Do Not Disturb most likely. But then the next morning I'll go through my phone and check my messages and get back to them right away.
Isn't that the beauty of text?
Yes.
They can text when they're available.
Right.
When I'm thinking of it, I can text you, and when you're
Right.
available, you can get back with me. And I think that's the beauty of text.
Yes.
Not
it
only
is.
that, you can be like, oh, they haven't read it yet. Hold on. Now
Right.
they've read it.
Yes.
All right.
And
now they're replying.
Well, now with the Apple phones, you can uncheck it again so that it shows unread again. And that's the way, and it keeps me in check because now I know I can respond to everyone. So it's good.
Yeah.
It helps me out a lot.
And Rick, how would they get a hold of us?
Go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com or 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
And for the rest of this show, and hear us continue to talk to Alan about what is his most memorable deal, go to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. All right. Hey, Alan. So thank you for joining us and being with us for this long. I know sometimes talking to Rick takes a long time, but it's all right. So what is your most memorable deal?
Oh, geez. That's like asking me what's my favorite car. Narrow
a
it
good
down
question.
to a
I might
list.
ask that.
Well, yeah, that I'd have to narrow that down to probably 100. There's things that I like about all of them. It's always great to help out old friends and reconnect. Or especially when you get referrals from people that it means a lot. Just a few I had this past year, I guess. I think of one in particular where I had a referral from a past client, for their daughter. That's always a huge compliment to me and helps me stay pretty humble, knowing that your home's your biggest asset for most people, and it's the most important asset for most
Right.
people. But your daughter, that's that kind of takes it to another level, even more than your house. So to trust me with that means a lot to me personally. I had one where these people found me online, reached out to me, and they were thinking about listing the home themselves for sale by owner. They said, basically they interviewed a few agents and they ended up saying, okay, well, we'll just list it over the weekend here and see what happens. And, the weekend came and went. And a few days later, they called me and said, please come list this house for us. And it wasn't, and it turned out, and they were like, we'll never, ever do that again. That was amazing. And it just, it went really well. And it wasn't just a cheap house either. It was, just under $1 million. So it was, not something that most people would sell quickly.
Right.
So it was a good, but I had one this past year too, where these people, we interviewed and they interviewed several agents, and they were at a point where, they did not see the value of having a real estate agent. And they told me that. They're like, we've had this agent in the past and we sold our house before, and we just don't understand why they get paid what they get paid. And, we just don't get it. I don't understand. So long story short, they ended up picking me. And at the end of it, they were like, just telling me how great everything went. They were thrilled, and they were wanting to give me a bonus, like after closing. Like they wanted nothing I asked for. They're like, we want to give you more money because we think you deserve it. I'm like, okay. So they went from thinking that agents are overvalued to wanting to give me more for, the work that I did and the value that they thought I presented. So that was amazing.
I think that if you get the right salesperson that knows what they're doing, they give you that value. And sometimes you get that one that basically, all right, I list your house, and you don't hear from them, you don't see them. Oh, I got an offer. Here you guys go. This is the best offer. Wait, that's just one offer. I want 3 or 4.
Right.
So I think that you were able to show that
Mhm.
over what somebody else was. I think that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. First, I always think I know for a fact that the vast majority of time somebody is better off having a real estate agent, a good solid agent to work with, what we call a guru.
Right.
People work with the top agents. They will do very, very well,
Mm-hmm.
and they will do much better than selling it on their own. I had my brother-in-law and sister-in-law try to sell it on their house on their own. Bottom line was by the time they finally listed it with an agent and they were in time constraint because their house was completed, they made $30,000 more than when they sold it on their own and it fell out. Right. Because they had somebody who knew what they were doing.
Right.
And it's extremely important to get a real estate agent who is good at it. And, when you said it, I don't know why it took me all this time to finally it hit me and that, that I understand, that it's just like having a teacher. There are phenomenal teachers who are way, way underpaid.
Mm-hmm.
And there are teachers who are way, way overpaid.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And there are in every profession, I'm sure it's that way. And it's the same in real estate. They just needed a top agent.
Right.
They needed somebody who knew what they were doing to realize it's, if all they get is somebody who puts it on the NMLS or the MLS, MLS.
I don't think they need to go to our licensing page.
Right.
But, and it's not even called the MLS anymore, is it? It's the BLC.
Yeah, you can call it either.
Okay,
but
good.
I think people know what you mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just that isn't, it's all the other things that you do, plus what you bring, your calmness and all those, that makes a huge difference to people.
Yeah, there's value in that for sure. I guess it's tough because there's so many agents out there, and it's really hard to get through all the noise and get people to find you basically because there's a lot. There's a lot out there.
So if somebody is looking for a real estate agent,
yes.
So they're looking for somebody. What traits and characteristics do you think they should look for in that agent?
Well, they need to understand their own goals. What is it that they want out of that? And then, one of the things I encourage people to do is you can look past listings. Look at, if you're listing a house and that agent has shoddy cell phone pictures with their thumb over the lens, that's probably not what you want. It's been proven that those don't bring as good of results. Somebody that really knows their numbers. You can look at and see past results for agents. Actually, it's pretty open book out there now. You can see, I wouldn't say the number of houses matters so much as, okay, how do they perform when they sell the house? What's their list to sale percentage? Are they good negotiators? Those kinds of things. So.
And what about the team? Does the team, the team an agent has, does that make, and when I say team,
absolutely.
I'm including the
Right.
office.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to have that good support structure. Nobody can do everything on their own as much as I try.
Only Alan can. Alan can do it all on his own.
Right.
Because he's got X-ray vision.
I know. Yeah. I can see into the future too now.
Yeah. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. That's the one superpower I'd love to have is control time. Because there's not enough of that.
No, there is not.
But yeah, having a good team around you of, just mortgage people, title, all those kinds of people are great. You need people you can call on whenever you need to. So.
Right. Yeah, you got to have that experience.
So, what is your team? Do you have a team? What does it look like?
Yeah, so outside of those other professionals, it's just me right now. I'm solo. I'm flying solo. I'll do different things to kind of help in some ways, but actually right now I'm looking to kind of grow and develop a few people to help me out. So if you're out there and you've been struggling as an agent for a while, you've been going a while. I'm looking to bring somebody else on possibly, if you're the right fit. So whether that be someone like me that's introverted, that's definitely somebody that I could help with. Or if you're extroverted, that's fine too. But I could really help develop and help give you leads and some other things that I have a ton of leads right now that I can't even follow up with right now because I'm spread kind of thin. So I want to kind of grow exponentially here in the next few years. That's kind of the goal.
Well, that's awesome to have that many leads. And I would think that having somebody who is analytical and has processes, that's why I like processes, and I tend to go that way. But it's so much easier to learn something if there's a process and you say, okay, do A, do B, do C, do E, do F, right? This is the process.
Right. Just follow it and
yes. And it works.
Takes a lot off your mind.
Yes. You can just follow the process and it works. You get, you become successful at it. And I always told people when, you can't change anything until you know what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. Because I don't know if you found this, but I found that the people who, when they change it, they always change the thing that was the most important piece of the puzzle.
Or the thing that they don't want to do the most,
right,
or want to do the least. Yeah.
Yeah. But it also was most effective.
Exactly.
Right.
The reason it's the hardest is because it matters the most.
Yes. And a lot of times it's what you say. That's so much of what we do is what you say, when you say it, how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it all that matters, and it's great if you already have it laid out, and then it just makes it so much easier to get going, to build their business. And it's amazing. What's the number? 87% fail after the first 5 years?
In the first 5 years.
Isn't that
Yeah,
incredible?
crazy.
It's one of the things we want to help in this, that we want people listening to people like you, because you're successful. They can hear your story. They understand that you didn't just walk into it and didn't become the top, a top agent, a guru right off the bat. You had to work at it, and they can learn from what you did. And I think that's really important. I think it's also important that probably one of the biggest things that I've learned by doing this show and talking to so many real estate agents is you need very good mentors.
Right.
Like you had mentors that weren't good for you.
Right.
Right. You need mentors that are good for you. You need a fit that they can help you, because it's really hard for somebody who, if they're really outgoing and they're telling you to go do all this stuff that's really outgoing, which is not in your wheelhouse.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah. And I find that most agents that I know that are successful are those extroverted types. And that's an easy way to develop business, is to go out and meet people and build relationships. And that just isn't something that's fun for me.
Right.
I like people, don't get me wrong. I love spending time with people and hanging out, but like just to go out and be the life of the party and make sure everybody knows who I am, that's not who I am. But so I find that that's kind of where I'm going at next, is I really want to find somebody that's in that position where they're struggling in the business and they have the abilities, they have, the drive and the grit and everything. They just don't know how to get there yet, and bring those people on and kind of develop and help them grow and build the business that they want.
Right.
So
that's awesome. I think it's critical that happens. Now, so how would you describe your brand?
my brand is about value. So it's basically providing to the client the highest return in the least amount of time, basically. And it's just that simple, really. So everything that I do is focused on how I can make that maximize the client's time, money, and experience. So anything that I can do to lower costs for the seller or time, that's what I'll do. So
yeah, well,
and I have statistics that back it up, and I show clients, and that really goes a long way. So
yeah, well, time, like for me, time most of the time is more important than the money.
Yeah,
because the one thing I don't have much of is time.
Right.
And you indicated you're the same way. You just don't. You wish you could make more time.
Right. Yeah, you could tell the client to go spend $5,000 and do all this renovation on their kitchen so they get 7,000 back. But for some people, that's just not worth the time and money. And I'm not going to tell somebody to do that if that's not something they want to do. It's like you know, may not be worth it, or you may be spending more money. So let's not do that.
Right. Yeah. To that point, I had a friend who this was a few years ago. They listed their house, or they were before they listed it. The person came in and they said you had to redo their whole kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fairly expensive home, and so they had people come in and see the house, and they had
Right.
done their kitchen. They finally decided, okay, we'll do the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So they put $25,000 into their kitchen. The person who bought it was
Ripped
one of
it
the
out,
first
didn't
people.
they?
Yes, they did. They
Yeah.
were one of the first people through, never saw it. And when they came in, they ripped it all out.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Just a waste of,
Yeah, they threw it down the toilet.
yeah.
It's that comes back to that curiosity. Like, ask questions. Like, what is it that you want to get out of this? Do you want to spend all this time renovating your house? You may not want to. It may be worth it just to sell it for a little bit cheaper. Your time's more valuable, like it is for me. I might get another couple weeks out of my life for $1,000. Let's do that.
Right. Yeah. Because renovating is no fun.
No.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
work. And
It adds stress to something that's already stressful.
Yeah. There's no question there. So what are 2 resources that you have that you or have had in the past that just, man, if you didn't have those resources, you wouldn't be where you are today?
Oh boy. Like, are you talking physical things or
Could be whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, just from what you said, I
Just
guess.
say your wife and
Yeah,
you're
there you
good.
go. My wife,
Actually,
my wife and kids.
I expected this one.
That is true though. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that support at home. If you don't have it, then you're kind of paddling upstream. But no, obviously our phones are key to us now. We can't do anything without those. But beyond that, I feel I'm pretty adaptable. I would adapt to whatever tools are out there and use them and find the best ways to use them. But mostly, I'm coming back to that curiosity mindset, just always learning, growing, and creating better processes and systems. That's kind of the thing that really is key for my growth and success.
I think you missed one thing.
What's that?
The grill.
The grill.
Yeah, grilling out for all your neighbors.
Oh,
them
yeah,
come
yeah,
over.
yeah.
That's a great tool.
I didn't get anybody sick, right?
Well, that's the first thing you don't want to do, right?
Right. Maybe I did. I just didn't know about it.
Hey,
Well,
you'll be stuck on their memory.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You'll be memorable if
Right.
you do that, no question. So what is one thing that you want to tackle this year personally and professionally?
Personally, it's trying to set boundaries for myself. Turn it off sometimes, because real estate can be a 24/7 thing, and it's hard to be present with your family sometimes. So just making sure that when I'm with them, that I'm with them. But also, I still want to continue to grow in real estate and create some processes and systems in place that kind of allows me to multiply my reach without taking up more time. So those are the things that I'm focusing on right now. Just creating even more systems and processes that can help me grow exponentially.
That's awesome. Because when you really think about it, and you were talking about growing your team, and by you adding 1 or 2 extra people, that allows your brand / company start to grow, because you can do so much more with a few more people than just yourself.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you got to have that trust too. That's one of probably my weaknesses is I like to do everything myself. And, a lot of that comes back to the reason, I am interested in a lot of different things. So I enjoy doing a lot of different things. So, sometimes I have to just let things go, and I got to learn to, allow people to do their own thing.
Yeah, my coaches taught me that you have to do the things you like,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have to do the things that are most valuable.
Right.
There's certain things that at least in my book, you have to do. You're the face of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a lot of people do other things, and I've had the same struggle as you have, is just letting people do things. And I notice it holds a lot of people back. They
Right.
can't grow as much as big, and they can't be as helpful as they would like to be because of the time restraints we talked about.
Right. Yeah. You can only be so many places at once.
That's right. Well, we're running out of time. So what
Already?
is the best way to get a hold of you? If anybody has any real estate needs, they want to talk to somebody who has a great process and will keep them calm and can see through walls.
That's right. You can go to alanhamson.com, Hamson with an M, or call or text me anytime, 317-496-0656.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com or 317-672-1938. 317-672-1938. I always want to give a different number. 317-672-1938.
You almost got it through the whole show. I was almost proud of you.
I almost did. And follow us. You don't want to miss any of our shows.
Yes, on Indy's Real Estate Gurus. And also, if you know any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, contact Rick or I, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Rittman's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.